So yesterday I explained you about evidence of evolution, and we have seen how what all fossils and what all evidence are very important to know the age of the rocks, to know the age of the fossil, and how do we calculate the DNA to see the DNA. So today we'll watch the video because yesterday I did not show you the video. Today I'm going to show you the video. That is the third lesson, evidence of evolution.
You've learned a lot about the evidence for evolution. Let's take a minute to summarize what you have learned.
How did it end up?
Evidence indicates
Look at
that...
this. They're summarizing the lesson. We did not even start it. Come on, let's start. Till where did you all see, girls?
Welcome to the lesson, Evidence of Evolution.
No, this is the beginning of the lesson.
Only the beginning.
A
Right?
new species of blackcap.
We have seen the black cat.
This one,
Yeah.
Some of the strongest evidence for evolution comes from fossils.
This one.
But
It's all
what
of
is
them,
a
right?
fossil?
This one.
A fossil
Miss,
is physical
I
evidence.
I didn't understand the amber.
Okay, wait a second. They store it, girls, like I'll say you.
Some of the strongest evidence for...
There was some animal inside ice cube, you know, it became frozen and it is remaining inside even now. You got it? That is amber. The whole animal.
What, Miss?
Like imagine, girls, there is some dead animal which was frozen.
Frozen?
Yeah, maybe in the Antarctica or somewhere. It got it died and then it got frozen. So you can see the whole animal inside as a fossil, right? The whole animal.
Yeah.
That is the amber.
Yeah.
And I'll play it again.
Sometimes an organism, such as a spider or an ant, is found in amber, which is fossilized tree resin. Since the organism is intact, some of its DNA may be extracted, allowing scientists to study it at a genetic level. The fossil record shows how organisms have changed over millions of years. Fossils form in sediments that are laid down in layers.
As she explained very well, Malak. I loved the video. You explained it very clearly, and you even those golden color, what is that? The small things what you put inside instead of fossils or instead of sediments. The explanation was good.
By knowing how old the layer is, you know how old the fossil is.
So by knowing how old the layer is, you can know how old the fossil is, how old that animal is. And you can know that at what time this creature exists. Okay? Especially when they are extinct.
The creature that became the fossil lived. Fossils found in the same layer of rock must come from organisms that lived around the same time. Fossils found below a given layer must come from organisms that lived at an earlier time, while fossils found above a layer must have come from organisms that lived later in time. When scientists look at the fossil record, they see that more recent layers contain fossils of organisms that are similar to modern-day organisms.
Of course, girls.
However,
these layers will have similar organisms. The organisms in the last layer will be very different from now. Maybe in the shape, maybe in the DNA, whatever it is not that similar.
Older layers have fewer organisms like those we see today, and more extinct organisms. Fossils are like puzzle pieces. Fossils preserved at different times help form a picture of how species may have evolved. Similarities between these fossils provide evidence that the organisms shared a common ancestor.
Now, girls, for this better, I even open the book for you and show you some similarities.
Miss, this is the dinosaur, the blue.
It's not a dinosaur. They are giving some different names. You know the different types of dinosaurs? I'm not that familiar with the names, but you all really know about the names, I guess. Different,
I know.
yeah.
Triceratops.
Yeah, all those. I'm sorry. I will show you what all we have studied from the book now. And then okay. See, yesterday, this is the amber. We studied about the amber. That's what it's evidence that organisms have changed over time that can be found in amber, ice, or sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock is formed. You know when sedimentary rock is formed. Even yesterday, I gave an example of the sandwich and made you recollect about the sedimentary rocks. And then we studied about fossil record. How do you see the age of the fossil? And then, do you have your book now, page 31? Please, can you highlight this? Fossils commonly form when a dead organism is covered with a layer of sediment or mud. Over time, more sediment settles on the top of an organism.
Yeah, miss, when yesterday when I studied, I highlighted.
Minerals in the sediment may seep into the organism and replace the body's material with minerals that harden over time. Now, here, guys, this is what today we will do. More clues. How did they get more evidence? You know, they got these structures. When they see the structure, the skeleton, this one, they compare. They said, this, do you see this curved? This is very similar to our also. The front limb of the bat and the front limb of the cat is also very similar. These two are similar. These are called the common structures where scientists were confused. Scientists found that related organisms share structural traits. Structures reduced in size or functions may have been complete and functional in organism ancestors. For example, snakes have traces of legs-like structures that are not used for movements. These unused structures are evidence that snakes share common ancestors with animals like lizards and dogs. Everything like girls, they have similarities. Like we have similarities with monkeys, you know, right?
Yeah. Monkeys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what, according to the science, they say that we are not the son of Adam. Na'udhu billah. They say that we come from the ancestors of monkeys. Frogs also have cytochrome C proteins, but they're a little different from yours. Even frog structure goes heart. They resemble our heart. They resemble many ways. That's why they.
It's a blue frog.
See, they say the embryo of the chicken is the embryo of the cat. It looks same. In the, you know, when it is in the womb of the mother, it looks same. The chicken and the cat. Do you see how similar they are?
Yeah. Yeah. The chicken and the cat.
That's what. Now here they have shown the limbs, the hands of this. These are the,
limbs. But it's this one, this two. For this one, it's for the cat and the bat. It's look different. No, it's not different.
They are just talking about. They're showing you different. See, they're showing you different limbs. Do you see this white and yellow color? White and yellow color. Do you see that? They're saying they're not saying completely same. This is just similar. Scientists also consider similar structures with different functions. The arm of human, the front leg of a cat, and the wing of a bat do not look alike, and they're not used in the same way. But as you can see, they are similar in the structure. Actually, they don't look in the same way. But don't you see the structure is little bit similar? This part,
yeah.
This part, and this part, they are similar. But three of them,
I think if you take the bat and put it in that shape, it will be like the cat.
Yes. So, but the bones of human arm are similar in the structure to bones in the front limbs of the cat and bat. These similarities suggest that the cat, bats, and human had a common ancestor. Over millions of years, this is all just imagination, my girls. Over millions of years, change occurred. Now, these bones perform different functions in each type of animal. Wait a minute, it's, the battery is gone. Huh. Okay, now. So, similar DNA. Okay, we spoke about the similar structure, common structure. We'll talk about similar DNA and then we'll speak about development similarities. The genetic information stored in an organism DNA determine the organism traits. Because an organism DNA stay almost exactly the same throughout its entire lifetime, scientists can compare the DNA from many organisms. The greater the number of similarities between the molecules of any two species, the more recently the two species most likely shared a common ancestor. Recall the DNA determines the amino acids make up a protein. You remember this, right? When we studied about DNA.
Yeah.
Scientists have compared the amino acids that make up cytochrome C proteins in many species. Cytochrome C is involved in cellular respiration. Organism, and here we have number of amino acids. Chimpanzee has 0, rhesus monkey has 1, whale has 10, turtle has 15. These are number of amino acid differences when you compare to human. When you see chimpanzee, it's almost the same. You don't have any differences. That's what in development similarities, they say, example, at some time during development, all animals with backbone have a tail. Even, when we see the embryo of a human being, inside the ultrasound, we see a little tail, but actually when it grows, there is no tail. The observation suggests that they shared a common ancestor. It's just observation that they say we have a common ancestor, but it's fake. A video. Video is interesting rather than showing you all these here.
The Dimetrodon was a reptile-like creature that lived 280 to
See the name,
265
Dimetrodon.
million years ago. It had a sail made of skin and bone rising from its spine. Scientists think that the sail helped to regulate Dimetrodon's body temperature. This sail may be the key to the transition from an animal that could not maintain its own body temperature to an animal that could. The Thrinaxodon was a mammal-like reptile that lived from 240 to 225 million years ago, or about 40 million years after the Dimetrodon. Thrinaxodon no longer had a sail, but it did have fur.
You couldn't see, right?
However, it still probably acted like a reptile,
No,
such as by swallowing its
Why didn't you say me, girls? It's not there.
Yeah, there's no picture.
But could you hear something or no?
Yeah.
Okay, now see again.
The Dimetrodon was a reptile-like creature that lived 280 to 265 million years ago. It had a sail made of skin and bone rising from its spine. Scientists think that the sail helped to regulate Dimetrodon's body temperature. This sail may be the key to the transition from an animal that could not maintain its own body temperature to an animal that could. The Thrinaxodon was a mammal-like reptile that lived from 240 to 225 million years ago, or about 40 million years after the Dimetrodon. Thrinaxodon no longer had a sail, but it did have fur. However, it still probably acted like a reptile, such as by swallowing its prey whole. The Morgan-Eucodon was an early form of mammal. It lived 200 to 185 million years ago, or about 40 million years after Thrinaxodon. It had evolved even further from its reptilian ancestors and had developed sharp teeth and grinding molars to chew its food. So, how do we know these three organisms shared a common ancestor? All three fossils
They share the common ancestor with the similar structure, with the similar DNA, and with a similar development. We have seen that, right?
Yeah.
I've seen in the book. That's what they will say, show you in the next video.
Modern science has made it far easier to discover new evidence that supports the theory of evolution. Click each picture to learn more. Comparing the embryos of different species can reveal both similarities and differences. Organisms that share patterns of embryo development are more likely to share a common ancestor. This hypothesis can be further tested by comparing the DNA between the two organisms.
Did you see this, girls?
Yeah.
Likenesses and differences can be seen by comparing the skeletal structures of different species. Species that are more closely related have more similarities in the structure of their skeletons.
They have shown you the different species, but the similarity in the structures.
Some organisms have organs or structures that are reduced in size or are non-functional, while closely related species have complete or functional versions of the same organ or structure. For example, one species of salamander has eyes that don't work, while most salamander species have normal functional eyes. The wings of flightless birds, such as ostriches, are another example. More recently, scientists have been able to study similarities and differences in species through DNA research. Many species have similar genes and arrangements to genes on chromosomes. The more similar the DNA is between two species, the more closely related the species are likely to be. Even though it may not seem that we have much in common with bats, cats, or whales, if you look closely at this image, you can see that we have a similar bone structure. Follow the color coding of each bone, and you can see the placement is very similar from one animal to the next.
Follow the color coding of each bone. I showed you, right? Even there, let's see the color coding, the structure, the way it is. There are many similar. That's why they told that they come from the same ancestor. With this, they prove that they come from the same ancestor. Okay, it was still here. Rest we'll do tomorrow, inshallah.